Hey friends, welcome back to channel Football Analytics. Today I'm going to be giving out tips for Saturday and Sunday. As usual, for all the newcomers, I suggest to bet on goals instead of outcomes of games and try to bet on doubles or singles instead of the huge accumulators. Now, let's begin in the Premier League for Saturday. We got a game between Brentford and Nottingham. Two teams that are next to each other in the table, but Brentford is one of the bigger disappointments so far this year. Comparing that to last year they were only 2 points away from Aston Villa and they almost got to the Conference League. But yeah, this year it's off for them, and they're riding currently a 5-game losing streak, which is the worst in the Premier League. And they actually had a tough loss against Wolves a couple of days ago in extra time. While Nottingham is coming out 4 positive results, that's thanks to their new coach. Nuno Espirito Santo is officially back. And they advanced to the next round by knocking out Blackpool. It was in 2 games though. And the last 2 Premier League games they had was against Man United and Newcastle. Huge victories there. And that's why it's kind of interesting that the bookies are giving us odds now at 390 for Nottingham to win. Brentford here is the huge favorite. It's only 190. But there's a few stats that I like in this game, is that both teams in the last 5 games have played BTTS. And also the last time that they faced off each other, it's always been BTTS lately. So I actually like the option of going BTTS here. The odds are currently at 175, so that's pretty decent. So that will be my first tip. Now for a second tip, let's head to La Liga, a game between Celta and Sociedad. Celta is coming off a pretty big victory in Copa del Rey against Valencia. They advanced to the next round. And they've been a huge improvement compared to the start of the season. They only have 1 loss in the last 10 games. While our Sociedad guys is continuing their negative streak. I mean, we won the bet though last weekend because we had Sociedad to score against Athletic Bilbao, but they ended up losing that game, which is huge now because Athletic Bilbao is now 9 points away from them. But Sociedad's last game, also in Copa del Rey, they won that 1-0-2, and this is hopefully something they can build on, because I'm leaning towards taking Sociedad here again, but of course to roll with the safe option over 1. The odds are currently at 171, and for the newcomers who don't know about that bet, get a website that has the over 1 bet specifically. Over 1 means if a team scores, like Sociedad, you get your money back, and if Sociedad scores 2 goals, you win the bet. You'll only lose the bet if Sociedad doesn't score at all. Now for the third tip, let's head to Serie A game between Roma and Verona. The big story, of course, is Mourinho. He got fired. And honestly, I don't think he did a bad job there. He won them a cup, but obviously a lot of fans were not happy with the way he was playing. There were huge differences between the Roma home side, where they were winning every game, and the away team, which was losing every single game. But of course, I understand when you have Lukaku and Dybala up front, when he's not injured, you gotta play better. So their new coach is De Rossi, the former player who played most of his career there. And his first test is going to be against Verona, which is a really low-scoring team. Could be a tough one to play against. They're currently in the relegation zone, but they're coming off a victory against Empoli, which is huge for their battle to stay in the Serie A. Now, this game could be tricky and low-scoring because it is the Serie A. You don't know what to expect there sometimes. But I'm expecting the players to come on fire with enthusiasm under a new coach. And I'm expecting Roma to score over 1.5 goals against Verona. The odds are currently at 173. Now for the last tip, we're heading to Bundesliga, a game between Freiburg and Hoffenheim. So in the table, they're right outside the Conference League zone. And I'm basing this game more on stats because there's 2 of them that I like here. Well, first of all, Freiburg hasn't conceded in 3 consecutive games at all. I like that stat. And also Hoffenheim has 3 losses in a row. I even like this stat more because Hoffenheim was doing amazing in the beginning of the season. They had 5 victories and 1 draw, and all of a sudden they have this negative streak going in, playing away. So I'm going to roll with Hoffenheim here. Of course, the safer option, just for them to score over 1 goal. And the odds are currently at 164. Also, the BTTS option is in play here, just like for any Bundesliga game, but the odds are a bit lower, so I'm sticking with Hoffenheim over 1. So let's move on to the Sunday's games, and let's start in AFCON. Which I'm loving so far because a lot of goals are being scored, a lot of underdogs are scoring, which is huge. We actually had that last week for the underdog pick. We had Equatorial Guinea to score against Nigeria. Odds were over 2. They took care of business. So we got a game between South Africa and Namibia. This is already the second round. Teams are getting desperate. This is something I'm going to be looking at. Teams that lost their first game and that are favorites in that game. So South Africa falls into that category because they lost to Mali 2-0, even though Percy Tau missed a penalty. They could have taken the lead in that game. And Namibia had a crazy win against Tunisia. Speaking of underdogs, the odds were over 10 for them to win. So I hope some of you guys took that bet. And for this game, they're giving the odds 420 for Namibia to win it, while South Africa is around 2. But as I said, I'm liking South Africa in this game. I hope they clutch up. I'm going to be playing it safe though. And the odds are currently at 167 for over 1 goal on South Africa. So this is going to be my first tip. Now for a second tip, let's head to the Serie A game between Lecce and Juve. Lecce is coming off a lot of tough, narrow losses against especially the bigger teams. Lazio, Atalanta, and Inter all won. And Lecce didn't manage to score even though they played away. And Juve is riding a crazy momentum now. In the beginning, they were winning a lot of under 2.5, under 1.5 games. But now they're dominating games, scoring a lot. And it's actually in the last 17 games, they have 14 wins and 3 draws. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Lecce actually managed to score against Juve, because they eventually have to score against a bigger team and they're playing at home. That's why I expect Juve to score at least 2 goals. Maybe they'll need those 2 goals to actually win the game. So that's going to be my first tip, and I'm actually loving what the bookies are giving us for a huge favorite. It's odds 207 for Juve to score over 1.5. Now for a third tip, we stay in the Serie A game between Salernitana and Genoa. Salernitana is last in the league, and it's actually unfortunate for them because they did play really well against Juve and Napoli. They took the lead in both of those games, and then they ended up losing 1-2 on the 90th minute. But besides that, what I'm liking about the Salernitana team is that they have scored in 7 consecutive games, while their opponent Genoa played Torino last week and finished 0-0. We actually had that game, Torino to score, and it was actually the only game that didn't go through for us last weekend out of the 9 games. But before the Torino game, Genoa had 4 consecutive games where they played BTTS, also against tougher opponents. And my tip here is to go with BTTS, especially that Salernitana is playing home. The odds are at 209. Of course, this is going to be a tricky one. You know how Serie A is. Sometimes there's a goal fest and sometimes it's really low scoring. So see for yourself. But my tip is to go BTTS for odds 209. Now for last tip, let's finish up where we started in the Premier League, a game between Sheffield and West Ham. Both of those teams played in the FA Cup midweek. Sheffield beat Gillingham 4-0 away. And West Ham had the back-to-back games against Bristol City, and they ended up losing, which may be a good thing for them because West Ham are doing really well in the Premier League so far. They're only 6 points away from the 5th place with a game in hand against Tottenham. And also they got the Europa League to focus on. And I fully expect West Ham to score at least 1 goal in this game, especially with their past disappointing performances. So West Ham is a good team overall. I'm liking West Ham here, but of course the safe option over 1 goal. Odds are not great here. It's at 146. Could have been higher, but this is Sheffield we're talking about. Dead last in the league and probably the worst team in the league. So West Ham here over 1. So guys, this is it for the weekend. We got 8 tips. Good luck if you're going to be taking any of those games. If you support this channel, hit the thumbs up. I'll try to do a midweek video, perhaps focusing more on AFCON round 2, round 3, see if there's any good odds. So yeah, this will be it from me. Bet responsibly, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Adios.